Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks. So it's been a little bit longer than a month. It's April 13th today and I meant to actually get this up at the end of March, but I didn't. So, oh well, I'm here now and I am so thankful for everyone who has come back to spend some time with me and for anybody new that is here to spend some time with me. So I am in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, which is just outside of Albuquerque. And I am I say recently, but it's about 6 months, 7 months that I have retired from being a 911 operator. And let's see, I've got 3 grown children and I've got Aggie. She is a calico that I rescued when she was 10. She is now 16. Oh, and she can still jump. Don't fall. Oh my gosh, I just noticed these. What is this? I have this little bit of hair down here that doesn't ever get much longer than that. And I can't pin it up because it just doesn't stay. Anyway, we're just gonna leave it. So I have quite a few finished objects. So I'm going to start off with a test knit that I showed you all. And this was by Nalu Knits, or Julie, I can't remember how to say her last name. I'll put it up here. But I did a test knit of her Dahlia sweater. And it's done. It's so done and I love it. So this was done holding 2 fingering weight yarns together. And there's the bottom. There's the sleeves. Oh, I still have a stitch marker there. Her pattern didn't call for a split hem, but I chose to do one. And actually, I knit it to the length that she said. And it hits me just below my natural waist, but I think I want it more. I think I want it maybe about 3 or 4 inches longer, and I'm out of this plum color or eggplant color. It's eggplant on Malabrigo Machita is the yarn, but I need to order more of this and I have to wait till I get paid to do that. So, but I think I'm going to make this a little bit longer. I'm going to put up a picture here of me wearing it with a skirt, which it doesn't look bad, but I think I would prefer it I would still prefer it a little bit longer for when I wear any jeans or anything like that. Just because I'm a bigger person and stuff. You know, I would just prefer it to be a little bit longer. Not too long because I am short. I'm only 5'3", so not too much longer, but just maybe 3 or 4 inches longer. But I love it. I love it. I talked about all of these yarns, I believe, in the last episode. But gosh, they came out so pretty. I did for the pattern test knit, which I'm not sure when she's releasing it. But for the test knit, I did the largest size that she had. And everything worked out perfect. It just came out so great. She's got a wide range of sizes. And for my size, I have about a 52-inch bust. So I did her biggest size. So this is it. I love it. It's so pretty. Oh, I'm super, super, super happy with this. But like I said, this was Malabrigo Machita in the eggplant colorway. All of the contrasting colors here were Madeline Tosh Light. And they were marled colors. I used, because I only had, I think, 70 yards of each one. So, and that wasn't going to be long enough, because this is fingering weight held double. So one was a, you know, one, it was long enough on its own, but I needed to double it. So I marled the colors, and I love how they all turned out. I don't remember the exact names of all of the colors. I just remember it was from a knit along for a shawl. It was the Semi-Precious Stones knit along or something like that. And the colors I got from Jimmy Beans, and they were kind of working with the designer at the time. It was several years ago. And I didn't care for the colors and the pattern together. I liked both, just not together. So I guess it was a good thing that it was, I never keep up on knit alongs. So I was starting to, you know, I peek at spoilers. And I just didn't care for how it was playing out with the colors paired with the pattern. I still have the pattern, and I plan on making it at some point in the future, but I ended up frogging that. And I had those yarns, like I said, for a couple of years now, and finally found something to put them in, and I am in love. I am so in love. And I know that I want another one, and I already have, hold on, I already have some yarns in mind. Sorry, you're just seeing my shoulder and the bed behind me, kind of messy. I have these. So this is Madeline Tosh Light in the Modern Fair Isle colorway. I'm only holding 2, but I think I've got 3. So that would be the main body color. And then these 2 would be the contrasting. That actually looks very red. It's more of like a rusty red, orangey red. But my lighting is really brightening that up. But this is what I plan on using for the contrasting colors. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know when I'm going to get it started or done, but that's my plans for some point in the future. I really, really, really liked that pattern, and I really love how the sweater feels. Oh, I'm so happy. So happy. So I've got several other things done. This was a whip, because I'm doing my whip down 2020. So this is another finished one on the books. So this is the Half Moon Oracle shawl. Oh. And this, let's see, where was I? I have Progress Keeper somewhere right there. So at the beginning of this solid pale color is where I left off, and that was back in August or September of 2019. So I did the rest of that from that solid pale color down is what I finished. It is so pretty. The colors, the pale color and the dark blue are both the colors from Maker's Haven. She's also Amber Crawley, who she dyed the yarns. She was primarily a yarn dyer at the time, but I don't think she's dyeing yarns as much anymore. But she I just kind of threw this on all weird. But she also writes books, and this was for her second book in the Luna series. This was In Light of Luna. This is usually how I wear my shawls. And so that's what those 2 colors were that she dyed specifically. It was a book box that came with some prizes and a copy of the book and the yarn. And it was 2 50-gram skeins. And then this color here, the speckly lighter color, it looks similar to the pale color, but it's speckled. This one was Sands of Time on the Snug Base by Pandia's Jewels. And it's got just a tiny bits of blues and other colors in there, but I thought it went really well. And I love how it turned out in this shawl. Oh, and I think this was actually one of the prizes that came in the book box when I ordered the yarn in the book. And it's a little moon. Isn't that cute? So I think Maker's Haven, Abercrombie is doing a third book in the series, so I'm super excited about that. She's just got a very sweet aesthetic for her story. So I really enjoyed reading those, and I loved the yarns, and I loved picking this pattern because it's in light of Luna being moon, and this is the half moon oracle shawl. I just thought it all worked out super pretty. I'm in love. Let's see, so that's another one done. Another whip that I finished, and I mentioned this, was, or did I mention this in the last? I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last episode. Sorry if I did and I'm repeating myself, but this was the, you know what, I think I did mention this. This was the red velvet rose shawl by Expression Fiber Arts. And these were 3 Pandia's Jewels colors that I held with a light gray mohair. I think I did mention this in the last episode. I kind of remember talking about it. But it's been on my mind because I've been wearing it a lot. I love how this bad boy feels. Oh, I love it. Oh, it is so huge. It's long. But the mohair makes it feel so snuggly. Even though it's kind of open, the mohair makes it amazing. And I have some black mohair. I don't know if I have quite enough, but I can always get more from Knit Picks. But I have some black mohair, and I'm thinking of finding some darker colors to fade the way that I did this one, and match them with the black yarn to make a darker version of this shawl, so that I have 2 of them. It's rare that I make the same pattern twice. It's not unheard of, but it's rare. And this is one of those that I know I need another one. And I would love it to be in a darker color because this has been my lifesaver lately. I just adore it. So, yay. All right. What's next? So this one, and I did not bring the yarn. This was yarn that I had gotten as a Secret Santa for Christmas from my office mate. And she had asked me what my favorite colors are. You know, they give you a list of questions to answer so that they could pass it on to your Secret Santa. And one of the questions was, what are your favorite colors? And I put green and gray. So she went and bought me 4 balls of yarn, 2 of this solid green and 2 of this long color run grays. I think they're Bernat. I can't be positive. I can't remember one, but they were, she got me 2 of each color, and I actually only ended up using 1 of each. So I've got more. I kind of underestimated. I got a little worried when this is a corner to corner crochet. So when I started the crochet and then, you know, you make it to the width that you want, I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough. I could have made this a little bit wider, and I would have actually liked it to be wider, but I'm not going to pull it out. So I stopped here, and this is about 15, 16 inches. I would have liked it to be closer to 20, but that's okay. I was worried about running out of yarn, and it turns out I way underestimated. But it's a corner to corner, but it's a rectangle. It's not a square. And it's very, very long. Very long. And the fun thing about this is I used random number generator to tell me when to change colors. My last one was a 1. So it was fun because I didn't know what I wanted to do with these. I knew that I wanted them together, but I didn't know quite what. This went crazy fast because I can do this corner to corner stitch without looking. And I think I used an eye hook. This is like I would say a heavy fingering sport weight yarn. and I just went to town. And every time I finished a color, I would go to the random number generator. It was random.org is the one that I used. And I would just go there and just pick out, or, get another number and change colors, and there it went. And I love how it came out. It is just so funky. It's random, and that's what I just didn't have the brain power to try to plan anything out. And I didn't know how the long color run grays were gonna play. So I just thought, let it do its own thing. So this was made all by fate and probabilities. So I love it. It's very light. It's a good size. It really is a good size, but I love them huge. So I would have liked a little bit more length, but I'm super happy with it. I'm debating whether or not I should get the rest of that solid green and do a lacy edge border, kind of like how this one has really frilly lace on the bottom, and throw something like that on the bottom here in the solid color. But I don't know. I'm not sure about that. So if you have an opinion on that, let me know in the comments below. But I love it, green and gray, and it's a beautiful spring green. And then this is kind of reminding me of like today. It is raining. It was nice and warm, and actually it's not raining, it's snowing. It's snow. Weird. But that's what it makes me think of. It's like a cloudy, overcast day in the middle of spring. So I'm loving it. That and this, like I said, went crazy quick. And it's super soft, and I'm super happy with it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really do think I want to put a bottom border on it just to make it just a little bit longer. How? Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. She's very chatty lately. Oh, you want to jump right where all the stuff is, don't you? You're going to mess it all up. Look, my hair's coming out of the hair tie. I know, right? Can't believe it's snowing. It's weird. So I got a few yarn acquisitions. I know that I said I wasn't going to buy yarn this year, and I was doing really well with that. But all of this happened with the social distancing and staying at home and businesses being closed. And I thought I wanted to support some small businesses. I don't have a whole lot of money to be playing around because I don't know how long this thing is going to last, but I thought I would do a little bit. So the first place I decided to help out, and because I liked the name of the shop. Honestly, that's why I chose this one. This is, excuse me, Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm. Am I reading? I can't read backwards. And so this was on somebody, goodness, I don't remember who. Somebody mentioned them on their Instagram. So then I right away went and followed, and then I thought, oh, well, I'm going to go see what they got. And that was it. I was sold, because the two colors that I bought are Lord of the Rings inspired. One of them is We're Going to See the Elves. Super cute. And the other one is Galadriel. I had to get Galadriel because I used to have a beautiful flame point Siamese, and I really only had her for maybe a month. I had rescued her from the pound. She was a pound kitty. She was an older cat, maybe about 2-3 years old. I rescued her, but I noticed that at one point she just stopped eating, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And I had made an appointment for the vet, and even before I could get her into the vet, she had passed away. And it turns out that there was, I'm assuming in her previous home, because this was an old thing that she had been dealing with apparently. But there was sewing thread, and she must have eaten it or something, and it got twisted up in her inside, and that's why she had declined. She wasn't eating. She was just doing really bad, and I loved her so much. And I had named her Galadriel because she was a flame point. So I didn't have her very long, just a few weeks, and so when I saw this Galadriel, I had to get it because it reminded me of her. And then we're going to see the elves. That's one of my favorite parts, is when the hobbits are super excited to go see the elves. I believe that's when they go to Rivendell. And so these are the colors. This is Galadriel here. And this is, we're going to see the elves. And the blue sky, blue water, the green trees. I mean, it's perfect. And I bought them. I don't have any of either left. I used them all up except for maybe like tiny little bits. And I ended up doing a crochet shawl. And I think this is on, I think I did this on a K. I wanted it really open. And all I did was a crocheted moss stitch. But because I did it on a bigger hook than you would think. Oh, and this is DK, by the way. DK. Squishy DK. But I did it on a little bit of a looser hook than you would think. So it opened it up quite a bit. And I just made the most pretty sweet little shawlette. Now, I did run out of the blue of the, we're going to see the elves color just at the end. So I had to finish this row, the last row, with this other DK that I had. It was 3 Irish girls. It was their Springvale DK, and this was the Midnight colorway. It was some leftovers that I had of that, and I ended up using all of it. And I just did a simple crab stitch, or it's also called reverse single crochet. I love, that has got to be my favoriteest border in crochet, is just a simple little crab stitch. And it's so fun to work because instead of doing your stitches working from right to left, you work them from left to right, and it creates this twisted rolled look. I love a simple crab stitch, and it just, that dark blue really brings together the whole thing. I think I love it, and it's just a nice light little shawlette. It's not really, it would be more for like to be worn like a scarf. It's not really big enough to keep my shoulders warm. But I love it. I know I'm not a yellow person. I know I complain about yellow all the time. But this is just a very little bit of yellow. In the whole scheme of things, this is a little bit of yellow that just brings a little bit of sunshine to the other colors. And again, Galadriel. And I finished this, I am not even kidding you, I finished this in 7 hours in one sitting. I got the yarn in the mail and I was like, yes! And I found a hook and I just went to town, and that was the end of that. I was literally done the same night, and then I blocked it and it was all ready to go the next morning. So I was just super excited. You know, sometimes you get those projects that are, you feel like you're working on them forever, and other times it's just, you breeze right through them. But it was 2 skeins of DK weight, and it went by so fast, and I was super excited. Very happy about it. So that brings me to what I'm working on now. Those are all my finished objects that I got done in the last 5 or 6 weeks. Hi, yeah, that's right. I got a lot done. And so I have started working on a couple of other whips. from before 2020, but I didn't bring any of those in here with me, and I'll just show you those when I do this again next time. But I did start another project because that's what I do. I mostly am using stash yarn, but I got some acquisitions. The other one that I bought that's new is from Breaking Yarn. Now, the reason why I chose her as one of the small business indie dyers that I was going to buy from is because she's local to me. She's in Albuquerque. So this is her card, Breaking Yarn. Her colors are mostly based off of the television show that was filmed here in Albuquerque called Breaking Bad. So this is hers, and I've gotten yarn from her before and I really like it. Now, the 3 colors that I ordered, excuse me, I got an itch in my throat. The 3 colors that I bought are these. Now these are not specifically inspired by the show Breaking Bad, but she calls them experiments, and because, you know, the nature of the Breaking Bad show, it makes sense, experiments. So these are the 3 that I got, and they are dun, dun, they are fingering weight yarn, 50% merino, 25% superfine alpaca, and 25% nylon. Let's see, 100 yards is 100 grams is 438 yards. So this one is emerald green, and this one is lilac image, and this, I don't know, not image, imagine. I think they're all called imagine. Emerald green, lilac, and just blue. And they're semi-tonal, super pretty, super soft. And I knew as soon as I saw them on her experiments page on her website that these are what I wanted. I needed something bright and cheerful, and these are my colors. Now, when I got them, I knew I need to put something else with them because these are all kind of in the same tone, I don't know what you call it, like from light to dark. There's not a whole lot of contrast here. If I were to grayscale this, they would look very similar in black and white. There's not a whole lot of contrast. So I knew I was going to have to use something. So I remembered that I had gotten 2 skeins of this yarn a couple years ago, I think. This is Sheep's Clothing Yarn Co. And the color is not, Rainbow Splash. This is the Sonnet Sparkle, which is a fingering weight. It's a little bit thinner than these yarns. This one is 460 yards per 100 grams, so it's a little bit thinner. It's a 100% superwash. Nope, that doesn't make sense. It's, where does it say 100%? It's not 100%. It's 20% nylon, 5% stellina, so that means it's 75% superwash. But it's called Rainbow Splash. It's mostly a cream base, and it's got this little tiny, I'm gonna go ahead and open it. It's got this little tiny rainbow just in one part of the yarn, just there, and the rest of it is cream. And I just knew that it was going to match those yarns. So that's the second skein. I already have started using the first one, but you can see this is it caked up and it goes so perfectly. So perfectly. There's the purples, there's greens, and I went through pattern after pattern after pattern trying to figure out what I wanted to make. And I decided that I did need something more mid-tone because I've got the super pale rainbowy yarn and then I've got the two deeper blue, green, purple. So I chose this as a sort of mid-tone. And this one I've had for a year or so, maybe about a year. It's called Living Coral. That's the colorway. And this is by Southern Skeins. 75% superwash, 25% nylon. This is about the same weight as the alpaca, 430 yards at 100 grams. And this actually works out so perfect to go with this. It's sort of in between the pink and the orange. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I chose to do a shawl called Be Brave. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It's called Be Brave, and it's by Pink Hair Girl Knits. Her shawl is, I decided that I wanted it a little bit wider. She made it, I want to say 18 inches wide, maybe a little bit more, but she made it like 118 inches long. It's crazy long. So I wanted to make it a little bit wider, but a little bit shorter. So I went down a needle size and what she calls for, her pattern calls for a 4, which would be a 3.5 millimeter. And I went down to a 3, a US 3, which would be a 3.25 millimeter. So I went down a needle size to hopefully make it a little shorter, but I added I added stitches to make it wider. So this is it so far. It's going to be so bright because this is done from end to end on the bias. So it's going to be like a, where are my hands? Like a tilted shawl. Instead of being rectangular, it's going to be tilted. So you can see there's the angle there. But I'm not sure that because I made it 60 stitches wider, even though I'm going down, I went down a needle size and I am omitting certain rows. Like this purple section here should have been double that, and same thing here. This should have been longer. This should have had another row of eyelets. I'm like making it a little bit shorter. So even though I am making it shorter to compensate for how wide I'm making it, I don't think I'm going to have, I'm afraid that I'm not going to have enough of those yarns. So just in case, I do have another breaking yarn colorway. This is a fingering weight. I don't remember. I don't have the tag for this one, but it's your standard sock weight for 162 yards, 400 grams, for 100 grams. And this is called Hazmat Suit, and I've shown this before. This is definitely Breaking Bad inspired. It is very bright yellow, but it's okay. I'm all right with that because the colors are all being used together. And so I'm following her pattern as far as the stitch patterns. I'm kind of changing up the number of repeats, and I'm obviously, because I'm adding a sixth color, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't count. Anyway, because I'm adding an extra color than what she calls for, I'm going to be changing up the way that the colors are done. So it's going to be it's an experiment in and of itself. We'll see how it works out. But I'm super excited with it. It is very bright. It looks Eastery to me. It wasn't meant to be anything to do with Easter. It was really just exactly the way I said. I had gotten these 3 and I needed to figure out what to do with them, and boom, the rainbow yarn happened, and then the orange, and then the yellow, and now that I look at it, and it looks kind of like either like a birthday cake colors, like a funfetti cake, or Easter. Either way, I'm in love. So this is what I've kind of been working on now. This section here is a little bit of a lace panel that I'm starting. So it's really cool, different textures. There's some pretty little knot, she calls them knot stitches, K-N-O-T. And they're not nups, but they are raised like a nup would be. Noop, nup, noop. I don't know. But it's very bright, and it's been cheering me up on this last couple of days that have been really overcast, and I'm just all about it right now. I love it. So that's really all I've got as far as knitting or crochet right now. I haven't done any cross stitch since I showed you guys several episodes ago. I haven't done any cross stitch, and I feel very bad about that. Every time I see a podcaster pull out their cross stitch, I'm like, I'm sad. But I don't pull it out because all of the things with knitting just keep happening. So that's fine. I'm excited. I'm still happy, and that's what it's all about. So books. I've gone through quite a lot of books. Pull out my list. Let's see. So as far as audiobooks, I did a lot. I don't remember the names of all of the authors. I will put them up here. The first one that I listened to was Dooku, Jedi Lost, and I think this was Cavan Scott. It was a Star Wars. I think I mentioned that I wanted to go through all of the Star Wars books, you know, that are not necessarily, some of them are based on the released films, but a lot of them are kind of before those and also in between those. So Dooku, Jedi Lost was a good one. This one is primarily about Count Dooku before he went to the dark side. And then after that, I listened to the next one in that series, which was called Master and Apprentice. And this is about Qui-Gon Jinn. He's my favorite Jedi, by the way. And it's not just because he was played by Liam Neeson. But Qui-Gon Jinn, this is about him training as a Padawan under Dooku. Let's see, and then the next Audible that I read, or audio, I did listen to them on Audible, but is called, it was a free one. Audible does this thing every month where you can get 2 free audio selections of their originals. And this was one of their originals. It was called Jukebox Joyride. Excuse me. It's a short young adult story. It was kind of like a time travel thing, but it had to do with music. It was fun, and it seemed like it might be the beginning of a series, so it'll be interesting to see. It was fun. It was really, really short, maybe 3 hours long. Is that so? And then I listened to another, actually it's the last of the Daisy Dalrymple series so far. I don't know if there's going to be more after this, but the most recent one that I listened to was called The Corpse at Crystal Palace, which is written by Carola Dunn. And again, it's the Daisy Dalrymple series. I love that series so much, and I love the woman who reads the stories, and I just had so much fun with it. So I'm kind of bummed that it's I'm caught up because now I have to wait. Let's see. So I also went through a couple of physical books, not a lot. Audio has been the one that's, I'm going through them like crazy, just listening to a lot. Oh, I forgot there was Superfluous Women. That was the other. So I did 2 Daisy Dalrymple books, the last 2. So it was Superfluous Women and The Corpse at Crystal Palace. Those are the ones that I listened to. Um, right now I'm listening to Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, and I got that recommendation from watching The Crafty Toads. That's one of they have kind of like a read along with me book club sort of on their website, and this is their April book. I just got it, so I think I've only listened to maybe 10 minutes so far, but that's what I'm doing right now. As far as physical books, sorry, my list is very long and I'm lost. It's a book called A House of Ghosts, which was really cool. It was set in, I think it's the First World War. So it has to do with a little bit of like espionage, spy, but it's all set in this old house that has ghosts. So it's like mystery, espionage, supernatural. It was really, really cool. I really, really liked that, and I think this was the first book by this author. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. I think it's W.C. Ryan. I'm not making promises. But again, I'll put it up here. But I really, really liked that book. So I can't wait to see what else this author comes up with. I really enjoyed it. And then after that, I did The Language of Flowers. And I think this was Vanessa Diffenbaugh, something like that. This was a free cart book from my local library before the libraries closed down. I got it off the free cart, and I knew that it was going to have something to do with the language of flowers, as far as, you know, this in Victorian times, a rose meant this and a daffodil meant that, and everything in that. I thought it would be kind of a romantic story, but it was. But it was also a very deep story. There was a lot of pain and sadness involved, and it's interesting. Kind of a coming of age, but in a very non-traditional type of coming of age. It was really, really good. I just blew right through that book, and it was very well written. I really, 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 really enjoyed it. I think I would have liked the end to have been a little bit different, but it wasn't a bad ending. It wasn't what I was hoping it would end up being. But sometimes we don't always get the answers that we want, right? So there was The Language of Flowers. Right now I'm reading Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. So it's kind of his interpretation of the Norse gods that include Thor and Odin and Loki and all of the other ones. I didn't ever really know so much about Norse mythology, and there are probably some older, bigger books. This is rather small, but I love Neil Gaiman, so I thought I was gonna go for this one, and I'm enjoying it so far. I really am. It's short chapters, so I'm getting through it rather quickly, and I'm really liking it. Learning things about these gods that I didn't even know about. It's very interesting. And then I've got a couple of ebooks. Actually, I only have two. I finally finished. My goodness. The first week of April, I finally finished the 10,000 Doors of January that I started in January. It just took me forever to read that book, and not because I didn't like it, because I really, really liked it. But I don't like necessarily reading books on my phone, so I didn't always pick that one up. So that's the only reason why that one took me that long. Excuse me. And that's also why it's taking me a little bit to get through this other book. This is on my Kindle. Star Wars The Phantom Menace, which would be episode 1. And this is the movie tie-in book. So a lot. Look at that list. From here down is all of the books that I've done in the last little bit. That's actually the most books that I've read in 1 month in a long time. So I've just really been keeping myself busy. um, as far as movies or TV, let's see. What did I watch? I've been keeping up with The Masked Singer. um, I am on season 5 of Death in Paradise. I'd never seen this series before, so I needed another British mystery show, so I picked Death in Paradise, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's quirky. It's got a lot of comedy in it. And I just laugh my butt off. It's so funny. Um, all of the characters are all of the main characters, the recurring ones, are kind of awkward, and they just make me giggle. I love it. Um, I was so tempted yesterday to start the entire Merlin series again. That would have made it my 7th time in a row, but I refrained. I did not start that. My son has been coming over again every week so that we can watch the last season of How to Get Away with Murder. We're both very bummed that this is the last season. And my goodness, the drama level is high. Oh, it is so good. It is such a good show. I love it so much. I don't know what we're going to do when this whole series is over for good. I don't know what we're going to do. Yeah, I just got, oh, I did a whole marathon of Resident Evil. I watched all of the Resident Evil movies back to back. I started like early. It was last weekend. And I started early in the morning and watched them all the way through till late at night. I think there's 6 movies. Yeah, I watched them all back to back. Boom, boom, boom. I really just wanted to see zombies, I guess. I don't know. So that's what I've been doing as far as watching movies and TV and stuff. I've been keeping up a lot on my YouTube watching. So there's there's a lot of podcasters doing their vlogs for the coronavirus and all of that. And there's just so many doing them that I had to pick a handful to watch because I was just getting behind on everything. So the ones that I chose to continue watching as far as their vlogs for the coronavirus is Flame and Fiber with Barb. Been watching that. And Leslie from Not Quite Enough Yarn. And who's the other one? Oh, Kate from The Last Homely House by the Sea. I think that's what it's called. The Last Homely House. Those are the only 3 that I've been watching. Like I've been keeping up on every day, watching their vlogs. I have been keeping up with all of the subscriptions that I watch when they do their regular videos, their regular podcasts, but I had to like minimize the vlogs because there's just so many. It's the same thing I do when they do Vlogmas. There's just so much going on that I can't, I get so far behind, and then I'm like, so I have to pick and choose, and those were the ones that I picked. Really enjoying listening to those 3. But all of the podcasters are doing really well. I just started watching, them. I think they're on their 4th or 5th episode. Rats, I just watched them like a couple of hours ago. I'll have to put their name here. They're really super sweet. they're, oh man, it's gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna drive me crazy. I can't think of their name. Anyway, I've been watching them, and they're the newest podcast that I started watching just recently. Um, I really like them. They're just super sweet, and they're just funny. They just make me smile. Um, man, it's gonna drive me insane. I can't think of their name. I don't know. It's not gonna come to me right now. But that's really all I've been doing. Podcasts and audiobooks and some TV. And I am working from home. I didn't mention that. Um, the job that I'm working for now is a call center, customer service for an insurance company, health insurance company. So they sent me home on March 20th with all my computer stuff, and I had to come home, set it up, and I think I've mentioned this before. I've never had internet, Wi-Fi, any of that. The only online stuff is what I get through my phone. So I had to sign up for this service to get Wi-Fi up for my home, but it kind of happened just super quick. The way they were like, okay, well, you're going home, and I was like, but I don't have internet. So even though they sent me home on the 20th, I didn't get internet until in the afternoon on the 25th. So that was interesting. But now I have Wi-Fi. Um, and so I'm working from home. It was something that I was nervous about because it's just weird to me. Like, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get in the mindset of being at work, sitting at my kitchen table, which that's where I set up my computer and everything is at the kitchen table because my house is not very big and I don't have room to put a desk anywhere. So I'm at my kitchen table, but it's a big, long kitchen table. I put my arms out, but you can't see my full arms. It's like I have little T-Rex arms. Anyway, so it's a big, long kitchen table, and I have everything off on one side. It's like a long oval, and so I'm at one end of the oval. So I can still have dinner and whatever on the other end. I don't have to keep moving stuff. But I have had to get myself into a routine and make sure that I'm getting up early and doing all my normal stuff, getting dressed and making my coffee and feeding my cat and everything. Because it's very, very tempting for me to want to just like wake up 5 minutes before my shift is about to start, roll out of bed and go clock in. So I really needed to make myself get up and do this little routine every day, so that I don't, one, so that I'm not tired, and two, so that I just get myself into this, I got to shift gears. I'm technically not home. I'm working. So it was a little bit of an adjustment, but now I'm getting used to it, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's been very interesting, but I am very thankful that I am able to work from home. I know that there are so many people who can't, who have been laid off. My daughter was laid off. Um, my son, one of my sons is also, his job sent him to work from home, so he's doing well with that. And my other son is still on workman's comp because he broke his ankle. So we're all doing well. My daughter's a little struggling a little bit, but we're here for each other as much as we can be. And she did apply for what is it called? I can't think of what it's called. Where you don't have a job. My brain, my goodness. I think it's the snow. It's freaking me out that it's snowing. And it's still coming down, but it's weird snow. It's crazy snow because it's not even sticking to the ground. Like, I don't even know if it's hitting the ground, but it's definitely coming down. It's very weird snow. It must not be cold enough for it to stick. But anyway, so my daughter's doing okay. It's just, Oh, my car broke. Her car broke. I know that I was watching a lot of podcasters. Their cars broke. It just seemed like everything broke down now. My water heater broke that first week that I was working from home, which was weird. I was working and I had to let him in, and we stayed apart. I stayed at the kitchen table and he was going back and forth, doing water heater stuff, but it was very strange. Everything broke down all at once. And I got my car fixed. I have a fully electric car. It's a Nissan Leaf, and it wasn't charging, and I was worried that there was something majorly wrong with it, and it was still very expensive because anything with an electric car is going to be expensive. But it was there's something in between the charge port and the battery, something in between. There is like cat fluff everywhere. So anyway, that had to get replaced, and that took up a big chunk of money, and that was a bummer. But you got to do what you got to do. But we're all just doing the best that we can. And that's all we can do, just try to be here for each other emotionally, and really keep in contact with one another. And we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it one way or the other. And so is this girl, huh? My friend. So I hope that everybody is staying positive, staying healthy, and we got to do this social distancing for as long as we can to get rid of this virus and get back to a somewhat normal existence. But I wish you all the best. Again, I thank you for coming and spending a little bit of time with me while I ramble on and on and on and on and on and on. I hope to see you again in the next episode, and I hope that I don't take quite as long as I did this time. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week and the rest of your month, and I will see you all next time. So Aggie and I, there she is, trying to bite me. We'll see you next time. Thank you.